Okay, welcome to this lesson. We are going to be talking about the elements of drama, and I have 13 terms for you to be thinking about and take note of during this lesson. All right, so the first word that we are going to look at is drama, and this is the elements of drama. And a drama is also known as a play or theater. You might hear those words interchangeably. Second is playwright and director. The playwright is the person who writes the plays. When we talk about short stories or novels, we have what we call an author, but when we are reading a play or a dramatic performance, that person is a playwright. And then when those plays are to be acted out, we call that the director. And that director makes choices based on the playwright's script. Next is the cast of characters. And for the cast of characters, that is who is going to be acting out the play. And so you can see in the Romeo and Juliet script over here, it gives us the list of the people who will be playing each part. Romeo, Lady Montague, Juliet, and all of these people. Okay. Back to, here we go, scripts, acts, and scenes. So a script is the written text of the play, and you can see a picture of that there from Act 1 of Romeo and Juliet. The act and scenes and lines then are how that script is divided. So we have acts, those are the larger divisions. Then we have scenes inside of the acts, and then inside of the scenes we have the lines, and those are the speaking parts for the character, for each character. Okay. The audience plays an important part in a dramatic performance, and you can see a picture there of the audience sitting on the floor and the audience up top. Nowadays, we pay a lot of money to sit on the floor of a dramatic performance, to sit up close to the stage. But a long time ago, and even back in Shakespeare's time, that was what we call the cheap seats. And so you would sit on the floor in the dirt. If you didn't have a lot of money, you paid the inexpensive price to get into the play. And the wealthy people sat up top in the box seats. We do have box seats now, and those are very expensive if you go to a play or performance like that today. Next is stage directions. Stage directions are instructions in the script. They are important, and a lot of times we skip over them because they are in italics or parentheses or brackets, and we are kind of trained to ignore that, but we should not ignore the stage directions, because a lot of times they tell the actors how to move, behave, express emotions. They say how the scene should be set, how the lighting should be, and without that, the director and the actors do not know how to perform what the playwright intended. And then as readers of a play, we need to know that as well, so we can see what the action should be like. And sometimes it gives us extra information about characters, actions, thoughts, and feelings that we may not know otherwise. So don't skip over the stage directions just because they are in italics, brackets, or parentheses sometimes. Next is dialogue, and this is a conversation between two or more characters. And so you can see the back and forth dialogue with Gregory Sampson, and how it goes back and forth. It is a conversation between two or more characters in the play. Next is your monologue, and a monologue is a lengthy speech. You can see an example here from Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet in his Queen Mab speech. In the monologue, the character, it can be delivered in the presence of other characters. The character who is giving the monologue may be speaking to another character, but the key is that other characters are aware of it and can hear the speech, okay? So it's not something that's done in an isolation. So oftentimes it's sort of like a motivational speech, or it's to persuade or to express strong emotion. So keep that in mind with the monologue. It is in the presence of the other characters, and they can hear it and are aware of it. That is unlike a soliloquy. That's the next word, a soliloquy. It is when the character speaks and their inner thoughts are being conveyed, and they are usually alone on stage, or they think they're alone. Okay, and it is not meant to be heard by other characters, because in the soliloquy, the characters are bearing his or her soul, and so that's how I remember it: soul soliloquy, and that's how I keep it separated from monologue and soliloquy. So it's revealing that inner character's thoughts. So it might be a speech or where the character is speaking, and so if you look at the script right here with Romeo and Juliet, it says Lady Capulet and Juliet are having a conversation. They're having a dialogue right above the red line there, the red circle. And then the stage directions, important, say Lady Capulet and the nurse exit. So now we know that Juliet is on stage alone, and she gives a soliloquy, and she is having a conflict. She is having a person versus self conflict right here about the permanent decision that she is about to make to end her life. So it is bearing the soul, the soliloquy. Next is an aside. On stage, when you are acting, there are 4 walls. One of them is invisible. The 3 walls beside you and the wall behind you, we can actually see, but that 4th wall is the wall it's invisible. It's between you, and it's at the front of the stage. It's between you and the audience, and you shouldn't, as an actor or an actress, break that 4th wall. But oftentimes we do, or a playwright will have a character break that 4th wall in what we call an aside. They turn, and you can kind of think of them turning to the side. You may have seen it in movies or TV shows where the action stops and the character just turns to the audience or turns to the camera, and it feels like he's talking right to us, that audience. And how do you know whether it is an aside or not when you are reading a play? It's because it says it. Like, look at that script right there where it says to Samson, he says it aside to Gregory, okay? So that other people are not intended to hear that. Okay. And that's it.